Hello, my friends. Welcome to the second episode on doing business in Iraq. After we finished the registration process and the Ministry of Trade issue the registration certificate of the company, there are some steps need to be done by the branch office in Iraq in order to maintain the registration status. These are called the compliance steps. First of all, the first step and the most important step is to have an office space, a physical office space, either owned or rented. In case of owning an office space, as a branch office registered in Iraq, the company is authorized and have the ability to buy a building and turn it to an office space for the company. And in this case, the ownership, the buying or selling need to be registered with the real estate registration department of the Ministry of Justice. And any real estate transaction, selling, buying, or that is not registered at that department will not be considered valid and will not be recognized by the Iraqi government. And we'll have a special episode on the real estate registration and real estate ownership in Iraq in our series. The second case is renting an office space. And renting an office space is also subject to some rules need to be followed and respected. The rent must be subject to a lease agreement signed by the branch office manager, the one who is designated by the mother company to be the in-country manager of the branch office, and the owner, the legal owner of the building. And this lease agreement need to be notarized and approved by the General Tax Commission. Any agreement that is not notarized by or approved by the General Tax Commission will not be considered valid. The office space will be the legal address of the branch office, and any communication, any visits by the Iraqi government officials will be to that building. Because during the operation in Iraq, the branch office may be subject to some visits by inspectors from the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs or inspectors from the company registration department to see that everything is legal and everything is according to the law. So an office space is the building or the place where the company or the branch office will do the work from. Then, after having the branch office, the office space, the company manager or the in-country manager need to register the branch office with the Ministry of Finance, General Tax Commission. In Iraq, the branch offices, the companies are subject to two types of taxes. Also, we will have a special episode on the taxation law and taxation forms that need to be filled by any company need to do work in Iraq. But for now, we will talk about the two types of the taxation. The first is the corporate tax, which is need to be paid annually for any profits that the company is making inside Iraq, or any profits that is generated from doing business for Iraq. We will explain in the episode on the taxation what does it mean by doing work in Iraq or doing business for Iraq. The second type of taxation is the tax withholding on the salaries of the employees. This type of tax, it is an obligation for the employees to pay for their salaries, because it's part of their income tax. But according to the Iraqi law, the employer, in this case the branch office, is responsible on withholding that taxes from the employees' salaries and pay it every month to the Iraqi authority. So every month, the company, the branch office must send to the tax commission a list of names with their employees and how much they are paid and how much the tax withholding, and that amount will be reviewed by the tax commission officials and approved, and then every month the company must, or the branch office must pay to the authority the money mentioned in that list and get a receipt. The corporate tax, every year the company must send to the Iraqi government a list of their projects in Iraq and how much they generated profit out of these projects or their business, and also make it subject to the taxation. And every year they will, or every 6 months, they will get a tax return. After finishing registration with the tax commission, there will be a registration with the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs. Each month, starting from a month of registration, a list of names of the employees must be sent to the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs with their salaries, because 12% of their salaries will be deducted to be paid as social security payment. Part of that 12% is to be paid by the employer, and part of it to be paid by the employee themselves. But also we will have a special episode on the labor laws that are applicable for the branch offices in Iraq. These amounts every month, after filling a special form, need to be paid for the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs. Each year, starting the year after registration, the branch office must submit to the Ministry of Trade Company Registration Department 2 types of financial statements. The first one is the financial statements of the parent company, prepared by a third-party auditor, independent auditor, coming from the headquarters, apostilled by the Iraqi embassy, notarized or stamped by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Iraqi Ministry of Foreign Affairs, translated by the Iraqi Translators Association, then submitted to the Ministry of Trade. Again, I want to emphasize, the signatures and stamps must be live signatures and must be live stamps. Iraqi law do not recognize copy. I know some companies may issue a public copy of their finance for to the public, but this is not recognized, will not be recognized by the Iraqi government. Iraqi government need a live signature on the financial statement. In addition to that, the branch office is responsible on preparing their own financial statement, prepared by a third-party Iraqi auditor. The auditor must be member of the Iraqi Accountants and Auditors Association. This financial statement will be must be stamped by the Iraqi General Tax Commission and then submitted to the Ministry of Trade. This must happen normal circumstances before the end of June each year. In addition to that, the branch office must also submit to the Ministry of Trade a paper or a document from the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs saying that all the local employees are registered with the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs. The fourth document, or for the fourth step also, companies must have lawyers. The branch office must have a lawyer. Some people say, but it is not mentioned in the law. Yes, it is not mentioned in the law, but it is mentioned in the Bar Association law. Each company must have a lawyer, member of the Iraqi Bar Association. Members of the Bar Association and the Ministry of Trade will not renew the license or the registration certificate without having a document from the Iraqi Bar Association saying that this company have a lawyer. In addition to the lawyer, the branch office must have a bookkeeping person who will keep the financial books and records up to date, ready for any time inspection, showing that the company is paid the tax withholding, paid the corporate tax, paid the social security payment, and have a renewed registration, and have a lawyer, and everything according to the law. Also, keep the lease agreement ready for inspection at any time. These steps need to be maintained during all year, and every year should be renewed. And without them, the company registration department will not renew the registration certificate. One very important remark I want to bring to your attention is, as you know, Iraq is a federal country. We have the Kurdish region, which include the governorates of Duhok, Erbil, and Sulaymaniyah. And they are under the regional authority, the Kurdish Regional Authority, or the Kurdish Regional Government. The documents that issued by the federal government from Baghdad still valid in the Kurdish regional area, but there are some compliances need to be addressed, and we will have a special episode on doing business at the Kurdish regional area and how to deal with the Kurdish regional government. Always remember that in Iraq, documentation is very important. Sometimes some companies may import some equipment to Iraq under special rules or special agreement with the Iraqi government for the purposes of whatsoever. But they forget to register these equipment with the Ministry of Taxation, for example, because they say the agreement say they are not subject to any type of taxation. That's true, but these equipment will not be able to leave the country unless you have a document, a written paper, official paper, saying that these equipment entered according to this agreement and they are not subject to that taxation or to any type of customs. And this document, although it may be stamped by any Iraqi authority, need to be also registered with the tax commission. They will not take any taxes on that, but in order to keep the books. So it's better to, even with the mutual agreement that you didn't need to pay any type of taxation or customs, still have these documents or have these agreements registered with the tax commission just to be safe. So when you finish the work, take it out of the country. I hope this information are useful. If you like the content, please, I will appreciate if you subscribe and like the videos. And if you have any question, any comment, any recommendation, any remark, please leave it at the comments below, and I will be very happy to answer any question or to address any comment from your side. Thank you again, and hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.